and welcome to the UK and Ireland Minnesota Vikings Fan Club podcast. I am your host and fan club co-president, Big Deal Rich, and tonight I am joined by a different three amigos, not the original three amigos, but certainly three amigos. We have got fan club co-president and all-round nice guy, Mr. Reece Field. We have got content lead and content master, Tom Perry Jones, and war dad. And all-round instigator, Daz Hales. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, gentlemen.
Reece, I think you were on mute for your hello, gentlemen.
I was, sorry. Well, do you want to start again, or should I just say hello, gentlemen?
Can you please just say it, and then we can
Just,
carry on?
and we'll move on and pretend it didn't happen.
Sure.
Some producer you are.
Oh, dear. Right. Should we get into the news?
Yeah.
No, you didn't do a hello,
Oh,
gentlemen.
no, say hello, gentlemen,
I
first.
said hello, gentlemen. Sorry, hello, gentlemen.
There we go.
Thank you. Now we can begin.
Comfortable
Right.
and relaxed.
There we go.
Anyway, what's happening on this show? This show, we are going to go over some training camp news, and we are going to start talking about preseason. Preseason's coming. Vikings football is coming back. Hallelujah, hallelujah. So we're going to talk about what we expect from preseason, who we think might play, who we think might impress, who we think needs to impress, and what we're expecting against the Texans. But training camp news, Reece, I think you've got the headlines. Do you want to shoot with those?
Yeah, so it is definitely preseason because we've messed up our entry twice now to this show, twice in 2 weeks. But yeah, the rundown is Josh Oliver looks good, Jalen Naylor looks bad, Jefferson's injured, Hawkinson's now injured. We don't know if Javon Hargrave's injured, but JJ McCarthy picked a fight with a offensive outside linebacker, rather. So
He was quite
there's some fight in
offensive.
there. Yeah, it was an offensive. I mean, he was a bit rude in this way he hit Aaron Jones. I mean, it's got feisty. Training camp's got feisty. It's a proper training camp, and there can't be any talk of the team being soft this year.
No. It's nice to see JJ McCarthy getting stuck in, but I really wish he wouldn't. I do not want to see him get injured. But I'm really glad to see the passion he's got for the team.
It's probably the only color jersey you can wear, or only jersey you can wear in a practice and start a fight is the red jersey, though, because if someone punches you back, they're going to get fined.
Exactly. It's very easy to.
It's giving scrum half energy.
Are we? Is this the culture that we expect?
Jokes for three people.
Is this the culture that we were expecting out of camp? I think from what I've come to expect from a Kevin O'Connell setup and culture is togetherness, and everyone's on the same page, and everyone's pointing at the same direction and objective. Fighting in training camp, that feels like a Saints thing or a Cowboys thing. Does it feel like a Vikings thing?
It's not unnormal, to be honest. It usually gets to a point, usually around this time, when people just want to get into a preseason game and hit people, that it gets a bit feistier. There's usually some form of skirmish in a joint practice. Of course, we've got those next week against the Patriots. It's not uncommon, and to be honest, I think it's nice because how often did we hear of our offensive lineman being up for a fight, or our interior offensive line being up for a fight in training camp? Will Fry sounds he wants just to walk into a pub and punched everyone who don't agree with him at the moment. Whereas we didn't really seem to get that when we had the likes of Ed Ingram or Dalton Reisner or Tom Compton. I mean, we've had a really horrible.
I mean, we've seen that kind of attitude come out before with the likes of Alex Boone. I think I've raised his name on the podcast before, and he came into the Vikings in preseason, saying all the right things, showing all the right attitude, and then turned out to be absolute dog mess on the pitch. I don't think that's going to happen with Will Fries, though.
I mean, we have been accused of being a bit Minnesota nice, haven't we, at the end of the day, in the past? And it's, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, you might have hit you in training. I hope you're good for the season. And, yeah, shake hands and get on to the next play. Maybe this is just what we need. Maybe this is the attitude and the feist to get past.
Well, you've got guys with livelihoods on the line. You've got hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions, on the line. And only just over 60% of this training camp roster is going to make the final 53. Some of them will be brought back for the practice squad, but you're looking at least 30 guys who are going to be dropped out of the current 90.
And you listen back to things like the 53 that Dad's put together, and other 53s out there that aren't too dissimilar. We hear a lot about Aaron Jones getting hit in and actually tackled and taken down in practice, which isn't supposed to happen. But the players that are taking him down, Brian Asamoah, Tyler Batty, the guys that are fighting for a roster spot, and they're going to show everything they've got. They can't afford to be half-hearted going into their tackles and into the 11-on-11s in training camp.
That's a good point, Reece. I'm just going to pass over to Daz. Out of your original 53,
yeah,
do you think that you're on task? Do you think that there's anyone that's pushing for a spot? Anyone pushing out?
I think I still feel, without wishing to sound cocky, because I'm not in any stretch, because it's just a punt at the end of the day. But there's nothing that's come out of training camp so far that has made me fundamentally switch. I think there might be some tweaks in terms of who I had in first team, or number 1, number 2 positions, and those sorts of things that are swapping around a bit. But in terms of the total number and the people that are in that 53, I still feel as confident as I did presenting it a couple of weeks ago, which, so I'm still sticking my neck out and sticking with it at the moment. But yeah,
I don't think we've seen enough to really make any changes to that so far. I think we'll be able to make more assessments once the first game of preseason's over and done with.
Exactly. It's because these are the guys that are on the bubble are the ones that are going to be showing the most in the preseason games. So those are the sorts of things that I'm always looking for out of those games, is to see how those guys are performing. It's always exciting to see the first teamers get a first quarter or whatever. But the real reason I watch that is just to kind of get a view as to what we don't already know. So it's that sort of thing that'll be interesting, and then I'll start to ask me that question after the Texans game, and I might have a different view.
Well, I think that's it, because I think the only places I think that I'm sort of disagreeing with you, Daz, is the depth in certain positions. I think we've got 2 older defensive tackles that we might need more depth there.
Yeah,
I think the other thing is there's one name that keeps coming up in all listening to Purple Daily and Purple Insider and all these podcasts that are up with the press who get to go to these open practices. The name that keeps coming up is Zemiah Vaughn at cornerback. Apparently, he's maybe the one that has the best shot of being the Mr. Mankato this year.
Yeah, I've seen that he's come up. So yeah, we'll be interested to see. Sorry, you may have just heard dog come screeching in, and in the background, having a mad 5 minutes.
Jenga.
Imagine us having lives in the background of these purple screens. Yeah, I know what you mean. I think it's weird because obviously we see footage of training camp on social media, etc., and what the Vikings put out. We see on social media training camp of other camps, and you think, ooh, especially I'm going to say my favorite quarterback, Caleb Williams, is not having a fun time in camp from the footage that I've seen. But we don't know what's really going on behind the scenes. We don't know what conversations Kevin O'Connell is having with, might be looking at a guy and saying, what do you think of this situation, or what would you do in this situation? It's not what they potentially do on the field, because I think everyone who really desires to have a spot on that 53 is going to be professional, turn up on time, do your training, make sure you do your weights, all that sort of stuff. But if there's conversations happening in the background, that'll be the teller, I think, for most stuff.
We were saying in the sort of pre-show meeting that it's not really all about the numbers, the stats that these guys put up in training camp. It's about how they respond to the things they're being told, how they're being trained. And Kevin O'Connell has said, obviously the focus is on JJ McCarthy. Kevin O'Connell said that he is doing all the right things. Whatever the numbers in terms of yards and touchdowns he's putting up are, KOC hasn't had anything negative to say about him in terms of the way he's developing, and I think that's really promising for the season ahead.
I think from what I'm obviously Mr. Optimism. From what I've seen of JJ McCarthy, I don't.
You've got to be when you're a Sunderland fan.
Well, there is that, but I don't see anything that worries me about him walking into a number one spot on the team. What sort of does worry is if he goes down, and let's face it, he's not had an injury-free season yet with the Vikings. What is happening after that? What is happening after that? Because the other quarterbacks they're not getting rave reviews out of camp.
Sam Howell looks like he may have turned a corner after in one training camp practice. It seems like he might be starting to be better. Of course, the night practice is where it really comes alive. That's tomorrow, the day after recording this show. Brett Rippon is only really going up against the twos when he's on the field. Same with oh my goodness, forgotten his name. Minnesota quarterback.
I wouldn't worry about it. He's probably not going to make the roster.
He's the one that apparently sounds like he's the best option of the lot by the fact that the ball comes out on time and is accurate. But yeah, it's slim pickings. But how many teams have got a good
Max Brosma?
Yeah, Brosma.
But how many teams actually have a good backup quarterback apart from the Giants, who have nothing but good backup quarterbacks on their roster?
Yeah, they haven't got a starter, but they've got 3 good backups.
Jameis can move.
And also, I'd say that Sam Howell, he's never had a great season in the NFL. He's always looked like a reasonable, stand-in for the odd week here or there. But in this training camp, again, it's not about exactly what he's doing on the field. As long as he's if he's making the right reads, even if the throw doesn't come out quite right, it's not the end of the world. And also, as you say, Rippon's going up against the twos, but Howell is predominantly going up against the ones and sometimes the twos, which means he's playing against one of the best defenses in the NFL. Which, again,
with a second team offensive line as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I wouldn't read too much into it. KOC has shown that he can be the QB whisperer. If Sam Howell has to go in for a game or two this season, I wouldn't be any more discomforted by seeing him on the gridiron than I was with the 2 bums we had last season.
Nick Mullins?
Yeah, that's the one.
Nick Mullins.
Nick Mullins and Jaron Hall previously as well.
I love Jaron Hall. I'd have him back. Anyway, let's not go over past loves. What I was going to say is that
don't talk about your ex.
Training camp. I suppose it's probably best that we start to talk about preseason now, because my outlook of preseason has probably drastically changed over the past few weeks. One, because Sunderland are in fully fledged preseason, and we haven't managed to basically win a game, score, or have a centre back yet. So I'm treating preseason as just a bit of fitness. Results don't matter as long as we're just seeing some progression on the field and everyone's getting to that. Is that enough? Is that what we're expecting from preseason?
Now who's Minnesota nice?
I'm going to say you could say results don't matter, but that's all Chicago had to celebrate last season, was having the best preseason record.
Well, they win the off-season every year, so they got to win the preseason as well. So
and they haven't lost a playoff game for the last 3 years.
Always a positive.
Get them a trophy. Get them a trophy.
Let's not speak too soon. We've got to play them in week 1 this year.
And you're going out there, so
yeah. I'm excited for going out there, but I'm not excited for facing the Bears in Soldier Field in week 1.
You're also going out there with Big Deal Rich, who's done nothing but see the Vikings lose over in the States.
I'm not going to week 1.
He's not coming to week 1.
I was going to week 2. Oh, so you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah, when I've gone by myself, I've never seen the Vikings lose in the US.
There you go.
That's good. That's great.
Except I'm taking a mate who's a Bears fan.
That doesn't count then.
Yeah, it's not.
Dan,
they cancel each other out.
What am I expecting out of pre-season? 3 games?
Yeah. 3 games that will happen.
I'm expecting 1 quarter.
The occasional starters to play the first quarter, and then, as we just talked about, it's about getting game time in the legs for players. It's the same as as you're talking about your Sunderland thing. It's getting that game. There's a difference between game fitness and running around, and even that's true. But it's really just to start evaluating those that are, further down the pecking order. And the truth is that the preseason is almost more for the coaches and the play callers than it is for the players themselves. So it's an opportunity for things like clock management and those sorts of things, and for the coaches to try those things out. So those are the sorts of things that you also need to look out for, I think, is how the coaches call it. Obviously, they're not going to tip their hand in terms of all the plays. It will be very basic plays that we see like we do every year. But yeah, how the coaches are gelling and that sort of stuff in terms of with JJ or whoever the quarterback's going to be in quarter 2, 3, 4.
And that's it. And there's also a really good chance for coaches to develop as well, because a lot of coaches also get the chance at calling plays, which they don't get on a week-to-week basis. But come the third preseason game, the odds are that Keenan McCardle or Wes Phillips are going to go and they're going to call plays, which will be interesting to see how different that is, and see how those guys also can develop, because it's a great opportunity for them. I think for me, the main thing I'm looking for is who plays most in the first 2 weeks, who doesn't play in the third week of preseason, because those are the guys that might have forced their ways into the team. So that's sort of what I'm going to be looking at. I think it's going to be more about almost the snap counts from when the starters go to that that week 3.
Does Naylor, do we carry a little bit of how great was he last season in those times that we needed him? Because he's not had a great camp, and does he need to impress in the first couple of preseasons games, or do we just carry over the love for him from last season?
I think he does need to impress.
Because I'm not even convinced he was that good last season. It was the season before that I thought that was where he really sort of came onto the scene. Yes, he came in and covered a little bit here and there, but he wasn't outstanding. He was serviceable, I thought, but it was last season wasn't really his.
We're still waiting to see the what happens with Jordan Addison, whether he gets a suspension. Obviously, his actual sentence, it's not going to be anything major in terms of like the legal side of things, but in terms of the NFL side of things, we don't know if the league are going to say to him, all right, well, you've got to sit for 2-3 games. Maybe if he does get suspended for 2, 3, 4 games, we keep Naylor on for that spell, because that we've got Ty Felton, and hopefully he's going to look good through preseason. And after that, maybe you don't need Jalen Naylor.
I think Jalen Naylor would stay on the team. He's still on a rookie contract. He's still a serviceable player. His production last season sort of went the way of Blake Brandell. Started off really well, and then come the end of the season, fell off. A couple of very, very obvious drops, including one that I can't remember the game was. I think it's the Rams game. Would have been a walk-in touchdown, but he was more worried about the hit. He's bulked up, and now it seems like he's just dropping stuff. The words that I've heard a lot from the people who have been at training camp is, well, if that was Justin Jefferson, it's caught. You can't always have Justin Jefferson catching the ball, but you need these guys to be able to catch it. I mean, if you get 2 hands on it, you should catch it, I think, is the rule. And I think that's sort of what they were saying, is if you're able to get 2 hands on it, you should probably be bringing it in.
Put it this way, he's not living up to the levels of a guy who's chosen to have number 1 on his back.
No, and he's in a contract year, right? I'm not wrong in saying that. He's in a contract year.
Yeah, this is his 4th year.
He definitely feels like a candidate for me, that once we get through the Addison suspension,
trade,
he could be on the trade block. I think he could be one that if Felton starts to really show promise, then I think he is definitely a potential to see if we can get something for him. You won't get a lot for him. But
I was going to say, what are you getting for a guy who's
late? It's going to be late round.
It'd be a late round, but if you find someone that's desperate,
something's better than nothing.
That needs someone that's got experience and
he's got that. He's got that. Take the top off the defense pace.
Yeah.
If he's just not in our top 3 right now, I would say.
I think really we mentioned the Addison thing as well. I think what we're going to see more of is Josh Oliver, probably 2 tight end sets, probably used more frequently than they would if we had Addison available. because, like I said at the start of the show, it sounds like Josh Oliver has looked excellent and worth the extension and worth paying to have 2 tight ends on the roster.
Yeah, makes total sense. So we're sort of expecting the wide receiver room to play out at some point during preseason. We'll understand. I mean, that feels fairly obvious saying that, but for the Vikings, we've got about 10 of them, so we need to understand who's going to
13.
stay. There you go. We need to understand who's going to stay, who's not going to stay, who's going to end up on the practice squad, who do we risk putting on waivers, all that sort of stuff. It's a question that certainly needs answering, especially if we're saying that Hawkinson's injured. We don't know how bad or good this or potential injury is, but we do look a different team without him playing to his best, and it takes away that sort of unpredictability of our offense. Again, this second, third string quarterback question I think is hanging over our heads, and it'd be good to see some play out of those guys going into the back. But from what I hear, even cornerback, we don't have a defensive problem. Do we need to weed anything out of the defensive side of the game?
No, I think that's been one of the surprising things, is that the cornerbacks are all seem to be being talked about in a positive light. I think if anything, John's not here tonight to get upset and throw his hat around, but I think Mackay is the one that everyone expected him to come back and be in the starting 3. I don't think he's at a risk of, but I think he's still potentially, he might still play backup depending on how things roll out at the moment, based on what I'm reading anyway.
It's between him and Jeff Okudah really, and what's going on. I think
Jeff Okudah's been balling out apparently.
Yeah, that's it. And I think Mekhi Blackman would still be the one they prefer of the lot, because he's the one.
I'm not sure. Why do you say that? Why do you say that?
He's on the rookie deal.
He's the one balling out. Then why would Mekhi?
You want Mekhi to usurp that. You want him to ball out more, and he's the guy that you have invested in. You've had a rookie year of him starting and playing. You've had a second year. Granted, he's lost that to injury. He's been rehabbing. You've worked him back. You're trying to get him back healthy. You probably want that because you've got 2 more years of.
Yeah, but Lewis Cine is a perfect example of if you come back from injury and you're not cutting it, you're gonna.
No, I disagree on that. I disagree on that because Lewis Cine was never on the field as a rookie before he got hurt. That's the thing.
I have a different view, which we could get, because
we could get into. Yeah.
I was going to say also, Cine was a completely different type of injury.
It was, but my point isn't there about the injury necessarily. But if you're out and Kwesi has shown that he is willing to cut his losses on rookies if other players come in and do a better job. So I don't necessarily buy into this. They've invested heavily in. He's on a rookie contract. He's not.
No, but that's it.
So there's no real huge investment.
It's the time invested, I think. But I think if we're going to play devil's advocate about all these cornerbacks looking good, it's very easy to cover people when they've only got 2 seconds to be covering them for, because it seems like it's been the defensive line, the outside linebackers that have really been making the difference in coverage. They are in JJ McCarthy's face. We've heard all this stuff of JJ McCarthy struggling, Sam Howell's really struggling. Well, if you're getting 2 seconds to throw the ball, you're going to struggle. Routes aren't going to develop. You're going to be stuck with the short stuff. You're going to be frying up prayers deep. It's not the same as when you've got 4 or 5 seconds in the pocket to pick your person and get your feet right.
I agree with you, but the problem you've got there is that you're still measuring all cornerbacks, under the same conditions. That's the point. So you're right, the conditions aren't necessarily a true reflection, but if Okudah, which it looks like is getting a lot more of the first team runouts at the moment, and he's still getting the praise, and Mackay is not getting that in the seconds, then it those are the sorts of things that I start thinking, that's interesting. You would expect it to be the other way around if so again, I'm not suggesting that Mackay is suddenly not making the 53. He's in my 53, but I think he's going to be certainly early on, and it's still early, but based on what we know at the moment, it feels like he's the one that's got to start impressing through these preseason games more so than to try and bring himself back into the into the focus of the defensive coaches' minds, I think.
So moving on to the Texans game then. Obviously, we've got this joint practice with the Pats, first of all, that we need to get through. And
Texans,
after the
Pats.
Texans game.
Yeah, Texans
okay.
then Patriots.
Yeah.
Patriots
that's the way around. That's the way around. So we've got the Texans game to get through. Is that what we're looking at then? Are we looking at these? And is it again? We've sort of gone from, well, actually, these preseason games, we just want the coaches to develop, and we want minutes in the legs and all that. But now we're saying there's a magnifying glass on certain players. Which one is it? What we doing? What we're looking at?
I'm looking at Will the Thrill, or Will the lack of thrill, as he's been through training camp so far. He's been struggling. He was shanking them wide from inside 40. He had a couple that were very close on the left-hand side. They got Oscar Chapman to try holding. That went a lot worse, so they stopped Oscar Chapman holding. But Will Rijkaard has apparently not been having a good camp. He's been around that 75% mark, which is great in the 80s, not so great in the modern NFL. And considering what our backup quarterback situation's like, I'm expecting there to be a lot of field goal practice in these preseason games, especially this first Texans game. I think they're going to want to see what's going on with him, because if it's not right, they're going to need to get someone in fast.
We just need Dan Campbell.
He's just shaking the rust off his legs. I think he'll be fine. Like, let's see how we go. I think it's eminently too early to be casting any shade on any of our roster guys at the minute. We don't have to make any cuts for 3 weeks.
3 weeks is not a long time, though. Did everyone? No, but it's on Parker Romo. Has he got a team yet?
Patriots.
Oh,
Patriots,
okay.
I believe. So yeah, imagine if we got the joint practice and JPR is knocking them away whilst Will Rijkaard is shanking them wide left.
Anyway, I won't have any bad words.
Sorry, I won't say it out loud. I'm manifesting. I apologise.
I won't have any bad words said about the kicker that we took in the draft, which was absolutely the right decision. But moving on to other aspects, I suppose just that sideline camaraderie. I'm looking forward to understanding what that looks like and how that's going. Flores is just seems to be he gets praise from everywhere, and at some point, whether this ridiculous situation with the NFL passes phases or whatever, at some point someone's gonna pick him up as a head coach. It just seems that that's the way it's going to go. So it'd be nice to understand whether some of his proteges within his coaching staff have got the understanding of his defense that could potentially step up as and when that happens. It'd be good to. I want to see this new offensive line. I want to see. I've for too long I have watched waif of a men stand in front of our quarterback trying to protect him, and now I want to see this new offensive line play really well and solid. That's what I'd quite like to see, and I want to see, is Darisaw back yet? Is he not back yet? Would we risk him for Preseason? I don't know, but it'd be good to. Probably not. But I know he has been taking some first team reps every now and again. He has been on the grass, which is nice to hear. But who's going to replace him if not? Who's going to step in? This lad we got from the Bucks that I can't pronounce his name. Seems like the shoe in to replace him in the short term. But yeah, it'd be good to see a proper offensive line protecting a quarterback. That'd be nice to see. Anything from the Texans that we want to see, or do we care?
I think the Texans we care about are all not going to play in preseason. You'd expect anyway. And by that I mean Daniil Hunter.
Yeah.
Fair comment.
The opposition it's just some bodies to play around, isn't it? I think I don't really personally have any.
I want them to play as well as they can, and for us to still beat them.
Yeah. I think that's.
Up a good.
Has anyone ever considered going out for preseason or considered going to training camp? The more I see of the people that are in the stands taking the videos, I think, oh, that'd be quite good. And then I remember that would be a family holiday for us, and Lauren would say no. So, is anyone else considered going out?
As a single man, I'm probably the only one, the four of us, who could probably conceivably do it. But
I mean, I'd like to do it, but like you say,
The
Rich,
cost is just prohibitive.
The cost, and then I think if I'm going to go out there and spend that cost, I'm probably more likely to want to spend it on seeing a competitive game.
They do make it worth your while, though. They make it fun for the fans who go along to the training camp.
Yeah,
they've got they've got signing tents for the kids who go along, and they do make it quite clear that it's for the kids. If you go along as an adult, you kind of got to have a kid in
with all my stuff.
Well, that's the thing. They don't want stuff getting signed dear eBay.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But no, it would be a lot of fun. It's just so expensive, and when you want to go out for a game, you can't do both. We're not all Howard.
We're not all Howard. That is absolutely correct. Yeah, I think. I'm looking forward to going out this year. If we haven't already mentioned it. Tom's going out for week 1, and then I'm meeting him up, and we're going to watch the week 2 game together.
So, guide, I was so tempted to do that as well.
Hey, come. Iceland Air.
Yeah.
I'm flying from Manchester.
The frustrating thing is that I jokingly said the Dublin game would probably cost me about the same as it would be to go out, and having done the sums and how it's all turned out, it's guaranteed. It's absolutely that going out on the Atlanta game would have been cheaper than me what I've paid to go to Dublin.
Wow. How many days are you going to Dublin for?
2 nights.
Yikes.
So I get there the Saturday, stay the Saturday, and then Sunday night and come back the Monday.
I'm not going to Dublin. But sorry, Reece, you go ahead.
I was going to say, how's that compared? Did you compare 2 nights in the States, or were you a longer stay in the States?
That would have been three nights, I think, in the States.
Yikes!
I mean,
wow.
Let
me be honest. It would have been it would have been budget locations, but it was doable.
Airbnb in like the deepest, darkest parts of Minneapolis.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what we want. We want the experience.
I want to go, but I want to come back alive.
just get a lift from the door.
Yeah, like a commando roll into the back seat. But I suppose let's not take away the fact that Dublin game is going to be.
It's going to be immense. Don't get me wrong.
It's going to be pretty cool.
I'm so gutted that I'm not going.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't realise you were
really
as well.
TP. I'll see you there.
Yeah. We'll have a great time.
Have a great day.
Just for the sake of the people that Big Deal Rich is next to, don't get McGuinness.
Would not.
No.
That would not go down the gluten unfriendly route.
Yeah.
Everyone.
When Rich drinks Guinness, other people when you've got for a drink, they go, "This is going to get messy." For Rich, that's a completely different messy.
Unless Will the Thrill needs a bit of help with distance, then I should probably keep the Guinness out of my hand.
We'll just stick you on the left goalpost.
Anyway.
When Rich does a pub crawl, you don't have to worry about turning up late. You can just follow the trail.
Come on. This is a family show. This is unnecessary. Absolutely unnecessary. If anyone wants to watch the Texans Vikings game, obviously coming live from the US Bank Stadium, 9th of August, 9 p.m. BST. Is it on DAZN?
Yeah, all preseason games are on DAZN.
I don't think they're doing free preseason this year though.
Rubbish.
Why not?
I don't think it is. I mean, I've done a quick Google, and it's saying
you're such a millennial.
It's saying $9.99 a month still.
Woof.
Yikes! I know, which is
pretty. Piss us off anymore. Sorry, Dad.
Cheeky.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm leaving that in.
Yeah. I just apologise to friends of the show, George. I just say I'm sorry, George, because I love the stuff he does, but I'm probably not going to watch it this year because, I think we worked it out. We don't even have a need for it until week 8 because there's prime time,
Yeah, so talk us through that. Talk us through because I saw someone make that comment the other day, and I read it and went, that's interesting, but then didn't look into how accurate that was. So
I'm not going to confirm the whole Channel 5 thing because that's just rumours at the moment, this whole thing. And if it happens, then it's fantastic. And knowing our luck, we'll never need to pay for DAZN again because the media seem to love us over here. So good news for the Vikings. But effectively, weeks 1 and 2 were prime time. Week 3, there's meetups all over the country. Week 4, Dublin, that's going to be on terrestrial TV. Week 5, again, terrestrial TV, or worst case, Sky. Week 6, we're on a bye. Week 7, we're prime time again. We're on Thursday Night Football. I don't know what we are week 8. I think that's another 6 or 9 p.m. for us. And if that's the case, the first time you need to have DAZN to watch a game as a fan in the UK and Ireland, you're going to meetups and watching the primetime games. If you got Sky and you're lucky enough to have Sky, it's week 8.
Yeah, so week 7 is actually a 6 o'clock kickoff for us. It's on the Sunday, so against the Eagles in a noon kickoff Minneapolis time, and then week 8 against the Chargers is the Thursday Night Football.
One game of Sunday ticket with a VPN. There you go. Sorry, I didn't say that out loud. Shouldn't do that. That's naughty.
You definitely didn't, because what we should be recommending is people get it on Now TV or something like that.
Yeah, Now TV.
If it's picked for Sky,
if it's on Sky,
it could well be, but like Vikings Eagles is a big draw for Sky viewers.
It's the big draw 6 o'clock game that week, so there's a good chance it might be.
Well, it depends what our record is, but up until then, I think that's the big thing. Obviously, I've said that we're going to be brilliant up until then, so very confident that we'll be fine.
And as someone who's missing the week 3 meetup, I will champion for a week 7 meetup. To try and make that happen and extend the lack of need to pay for DAZN for fans in the UK.
Come along to whatever bar we end up in London, and we'll have a good time.
London, Manchester, Leeds, potentially Dublin again. We've got venues all over the country, so you could just go to the pub, support your local pub. How much you pay for a DAZN subscription? Go and have a beer or a glass of Coke down your local pub.
What else is going to be on at 6 o'clock on a Sunday?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Anyway, won't we? So you might as well watch it in the camaraderie of
Antique Smoke Show.
It doesn't clash with Only Connect, does it, Tom?
No, that's on Mondays at 8 o'clock on BBC Two.
Why would we watch Only Connect on Mondays?
Well, I can't believe you've raised this right now, but I'm going to be on this series of Only Connect.
What? Really?
I know. Yeah.
This is brand new information.
This is brand new information for most of the people listening to this podcast, because I'm not friends with them on social media. But yeah, I'm. We've already recorded most of the series. But
that sounds like you're going to be on more than one episode. It sounds like you've done well.
Well, every team is
regular Tom Parry Jones.
Every team is guaranteed 2 episodes. So we are on episode 4 of the series, and our first episode is in fact a week tonight as we record. So by the time everyone listens to this, it'll be Monday the 11th at 8 o'clock on BBC Two.
For those of us uninitiated, what is it?
So Only Connect, this probably should have come on with that earlier. Only Connect is a quiz show presented by Victoria Coren Mitchell.
Good reason to watch.
Very good reason. 2 very good reasons to watch.
Family show.
She's a very intelligent lady.
Yeah.
And her husband's funny.
Brains and beauty. So basically, what the format of the show is, you've got to make connections between a series of clues, and you get fewer points for the more clues you see. And then there's a round where you've got to make 4 sets of 4 connected groups, very similar to the New York Times Connections game that has become very, very popular recently.
Which I play all the time, being very.
Of course you do.
Obviously.
Of course you do. Sunderland fan. Yeah. But yeah, so I will be on with a couple of my friends from back in Wales, and I would appreciate the support from our fellow Vikings. I may even have mentioned the Minnesota Vikings in our first appearance.
Wow! If we get a shout out on BBC Two, then that'll be very good.
On BBC Two.
BBC Two.
Yeah. BBC Two.
On BBC Two.
Sounds like a background character in Star Wars.
Yes, and we all love Star Wars, so that's good.
But I've got a theory. Going back, sorry, I just need to loop back. 2 things. One, I shall be watching and supporting you from Devon, because I will be on holiday next week. But I've also
whereabouts? What address?
Sorry, say again.
No, I said, whereabouts? What's your address going to be in Devon?
Have you paid for your TV license?
I don't know is the honest answer. But going back to your point about saying that most of the series are recorded, I know what's happened. It's that the host, the lovely host, must have sort of popped to the toilet, and TPJ has just taken over and nicked the hosting role. Is what I'd imagine. He's done it before.
Well, you'll have to watch the series to find out.
It's not like Victoria Coren Mitchell's going AWOL for a few weeks.
Well, what happens is they filmed some of it at the end of March, start of April, and then we filmed some more in May, and then there's another filming window actually next month. So I can't tell you whether we're involved in the filming window next month.
NDA.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the BBC. There's a BBC sniper right outside my window. Just to make sure I'm not dishing the dirt to all of our 5 listeners.
And that's what I pay my license fee for. Anyway, moving on.
Have we got any more Vikings stuff to talk about? I thought this was going to be at the end of the show.
We are, but there is one more thing that we need to talk about, and that's the events of a couple of shows ago, where someone made a claim that something very beloved and close to all our hearts was in fact not real. Mythical, I believe, was the word.
Tooth Fairy? Oh no, sorry.
No, Tooth Fairy's real. Family show. 1 second. Tom's going to grab something, and I'm sure Darren's going to need something in front of him as well for what's coming next. Because I feel that we're a family show, and it's important
not anymore
for us. Yeah, we are a family show still. We are. One slip of the tongue from Rich earlier, but Darren's going to leave it in because kids need to learn.
I never select is this made for kids on when I publish to YouTube.
No, which is probably for the best because that's a strange way of getting around some other dodgy stuff on the internet. But anyway,
he's telling on himself.
We've I've come up with a bit of a children's story to educate people on how Vikings were in fact real, and with the help of.
Did you come up with it, or was it Mr. Charles GPT?
It was myself. And I then got it just edited by Mr. Charles GPT because I'm not an editor and I wanted to present the finished article to Daddy Daz and our editing and content guru, Mr. Tom Harry Jones.
Get on with it. Come on, lay it on me.
No, anyway,
you're bigging this up way too much.
I'm bigging this up way too much. I'm filibustering for these two to get the words that they need to say.
I've got them. I'm ready.
You're ready. Yeah, Darren is ready
for about 5 minutes.
Okay, so Tom is going to play a big deal voice that you may know before, and Darren another voice that you've probably not heard before. But yeah, in the blustery hills of Yorkshire lived a boy called Richard, who proudly wore his Sunderland AFC shirt, even though it hadn't seen a victory worth celebrating since before sliced bread. Richard was a firm believer in 2 things. Dragons were absolutely, definitely real. He once claimed to see one near Leeds. And Vikings were absolutely, definitely not.
Mythical nonsense,
he'd mutter to the sheep, as if they were interested.
No one actually sailed round with axes in funny hats. That's just stuff from telly and American sports.
One fine day, or at least a slightly less rainy one, Richard went chasing after his hamster John, who had escaped with half a crisp and a determined look. As Richard dove into a hedge in hot pursuit, the world spun, the air chilled, and suddenly he was standing in the middle of a frozen fjord with snow up to his socks. A shadow loomed. Out stepped a hulking man with a beard that could nest owls and a horned helmet that screamed historically inaccurate. He slammed his axe into the ground and growled,
"I am Victor the Viking."
Richard folded his arms.
You, a Viking? Don't be daft. You look like a bloke who sells horned helmets at car boot sales. I've seen scarier blokes outside Greg's.
Victor snorted through his beard.
A true Viking fears no man, nor pastry Q.
He stepped closer, snow crunching under his boots.
We sailed the seas long before you lot figured out kettles. We raided, roared, and ruled. We're not myths, boy. We're history.
Richard muttered.
Axe or no axe, you wouldn't last 5 minutes in the away end at Barnsley.
Victor didn't reply. He just laughed so hard the snow shook off the trees. Richard stumbled out the hedge, soaking wet. Bits of snow stuck to his scarf, and the smell of smoke and cold air clinging to him like he'd been gone for hours, not seconds. He'd definitely been somewhere colder, louder, and much more Viking than Yorkshire. Victor had been real, and Richard knew it. From that day on, Richard still believed in dragons, but he never again said Vikings were fake. Though he did still insist Sunderland would win anything someday now.
The end.
Gentlemen, that was almost epic. Something I wasn't expecting. If you've ever been in the away end at Barnsley, then very obviously historically accurate at the same time. If you've
Axe or no axe.
And if you've ever seen Sunderland play, then eternal optimist, but not very few points, especially as we adorn the Premier League next year, and I'm not expecting much out of that. Well, thank you very much. That was both educational and very entertaining. So, edutainment, I think they call that these days.
Well, I think most of my effort was actually in my Richisms and trying to make my my Richisms as accurate as possible. It just shows how often we speak to each other.
Ever so slightly northeast, but I'll guide myself past that.
Ever so slightly.
You like
the actor is in me is worried that I was possibly the wrong side of the Pennines, but that's bad. That's by the by.
Because I have this sort of thing where if I hear accents, I just my voice starts to bleed into it over that. I never intended for Victor to be northern, but after the second round, he started to become more northern as I spoke.
I noticed that.
Well, as I do recall, the Vikings, if in fact are factual, are actually northern. So I don't think
they are indeed.
They're more Scandinavian. I really need to work on my Scandinavian. That was going to get very, very.
Well, funnily enough, Vikings, unlike that story, are entirely factual.
Entirely, especially Thor, Loki, Odin. All those guys definitely factual on
Someone's
7 rounds of
Someone's confusing religion with.
He's doubled down way too far on this.
All I'm saying is that some of that history might have been embellished. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, I think we've run out of time, haven't we? I think we've run out of time.
I really hope so.
We are running low on recording time, if I'm being honest.
Okay, so let's. There's a few things we have to say. Reece, I'll start just by mentioning that your club needs you. We are going to be advertising for some roles within the team on our social media channels.
In Greg's shop window.
But we'll be in Telegraph. We'll be advertising some roles for the club. If you could please assess your skill levels and understand if you would like to join this merry mob of idiots by promoting the fantastic UK and Ireland Vikings community and getting involved in helping to grow that community. We would love to have you because we are nothing without fans in the team. All these guys are fantastic, giving up their time and helping grow this lovely community that I'm belovedly part of. So if you do feel like you want to be part of the team, get in touch. Reece, what are the details?
You can get in touch with us, Facebook, UK and Ireland Minnesota Vikings Fan Club, Instagram or X, message us on there at UK Vikings Fans, Blue Sky UK and AND IRE Vikes Fans. A couple of other important things to say before we go. Of course, the Just Giving page for the Purple Pedal, where all-round nice guy, club vice president, Mr. John McDonald, is cycling from Dublin to London, Croke Park to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in aid of Mind. Some actual pretty cool news. Just first of all, it's justgiving.com/page/the purple pedal on one word. But we got an email actually earlier from Just Giving, letting us know that the purple pedal was actually one of the most successful pages last month. Out of thousands of fundraisers, we were in the top 20% on Just Giving. And well, that's all down to you guys, really, and John, of course. So we just want to say, please keep the donations coming. We really want to get to £2,000. If we get to £2,000, Tesco have promised to put in an extra 400 quid, which is it makes a huge difference. We are really wanting just to punch that number a bit higher. I know we've got months to go until John is riding through through North Wales all the way down through Oxfordshire and into London. So
just
he's not
those
here
three
tonight,
stops.
no, I think he's got a couple more stops, but I can't remember where the others are. But John would know, and I'm sure John will be here next week to tell us exactly where they are and exactly how we were wrong about a lot of things this week.
And on that note, I think it would be wise of us to wish John a speedy recovery from whatever it is that's kept him away from us this evening.
Absolutely, yeah. I think we've missed his maturity, if I was honest. So let's hope he's back in a couple of weeks' time. As we all say, every little helps. So if you can dip into I think, do we have to say that because Tesco might give us some money? If you could dip into the Purple Pedal Just Giving page, and if you've got some spare cash lying around, very good cause, very, very cool challenge that John is undertaking. Please give generously if you can. I don't think I think by the time this goes out, pre-orders for merch will have completed. Is that?
Yeah, probably. Because I'm going to
unless you get it out tomorrow.
However, T-shirts will still be available. T-shirts, of course, they are made to order, which is why people have been receiving T-shirts and not everything else. It's because we are shipping the rest of the stuff separately. We're getting it all made off the back of your pre-orders, and then shipping them out to you. You will have them before the games. But
can I confirm something?
Yeah.
Will people still be able to get hold of pins and scarves even if they don't pre-order them?
In London, because of the leaps and hoops, shall we say, that we have to jump through if we wanted to sell in Ireland. It's very complicated for tax purposes, I understand.
Sure, but my point is, if people miss the pre-order window, which they will have by the time this goes out, there's no way for them to be delivered.
That is correct. We are going to get, because tallying up the items that we need to order, there will be, and obviously not everyone's going to be able to pre-order, so there will be some very few, and I mean it'll be super limited amount of stock,
a handful of each.
Yeah, the London pre-game, we did it last time and we sold out really, really quickly, and people kept approaching us, have you got this, have you got this, have you got... Pre-ordering really was the way to go. But if you've missed it and you get in touch with the club, we'll have a very limited supply at that London pre-game tailgate. That's your other destination to get stuff.
And it's important to say, as much as we'd love to reserve stuff for people, we can't reserve stuff for you if you haven't pre-ordered, because otherwise everyone is going to be messaging saying, "Oh, I really wanted this," and we know.
We're working on it. We want people to be able to get as many of these as possible. It's in our benefit as well to sell as many of these as we can. But there are so many hoops to jump through that it's just not possible. And I like the limited edition nature of these things.
Yeah, I've got
it very collectible.
Yeah. Only because you want to flog you on eBay in about 3 years' time.
No one's going to want to buy it on eBay.
Yeah. What if it was signed by Big Deal Rich? We don't know.
Exactly. Take it back. Yeah.
Anyway, running out of recording time, I'm going to say for Darren's benefit. So connect with our socials. Email the podcast as well. You can email the podcast, ukvikespod@gmail.com. Yeah. Once again, Facebook, UK and Ireland, Minnesota Vikings Fan Club. Instagram and X @UK Vikings Fans, Blue Sky, UK and AND IRE Vikes Fans. Discord, there'll be a link to the server. You can find the link to our server on all our socials. There's a little beacons link where you can find all the merchandise, game day guides for London and soon Dublin, I believe, as well. And then I think we're all set. Darren, we got time to edit this one?
Oh, just about.
Yeah, good luck, mate.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much set. I think that's all we've got. Thank you very much for my Yorkshire Vikings monologue. That was very entertaining. Looking forward to pre-season, getting some players on the field and watching how we are shaping up for the next season. That's very, very exciting. I suppose there's one last thing to do, and that is say goodbye, gentlemen.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
Lovely. Thank you very much for listening. Cheers. Ta-ra.
Ta-ra.